Welcome to all to our next session of paper presentation. We have received 14 papers on the theme Impact of Gender in Workplace. Among them, 11 participants will present their paper now.
With regards to the chair and greetings to all, I am Dr. Nita Mitro, Associate Professor of Shiliguri B.Ed College. The title of my paper is School as a Workplace, a peep into gender issues with adolescents. Let me share my slides. The World Health Organization, in a report of 2009, has indicated that schools are very important places where the value of gender equality can be nourished that can prevent gender violence on adult life. One of the most important places where gender inequality may crop up is the workplace, with the intention of inculcating the appropriate attitude at the school. My focus is on whether the students can be offered an environment of workplaces in the school itself. In that endeavor, two academic contributions help. One, that is due to Dewey, who said school is a miniature society. Another idea comes from the work of Newman, 1995, where the importance of making the school environment compatible with that of a workplace has been emphasized. Actually, the great educators in India have always insisted on the work experience from school level itself. Unifying all these ideas, we concentrate upon a proposition. First, students have a chance to be aware of the issues of gender discrimination at the school level itself and the rational ways of overcoming those. In this paper, adolescents of the middle age group, 14 to 16, have been chosen as the students under study. The rationale behind doing so is the observation of Jean Piaget. This states that the formal operational thinking starts roughly from the age of adolescence. It is expected that the students of this age group involve efficiently in peer interaction and debate. In my study, I have chosen 4 objectives. The first objective is to check whether there is a difference in peer interaction motivation level between girls and boys. Second, to check whether there is a difference in anxiety level between girls and boys. Third, to check whether there is a difference in anxiety level between girls and boys. And fourth one, to check whether there is a difference in depression between girls and boys. Regarding sampling, it is a purposive one. The distribution is like this. Total 240 adolescent students have been selected from the schools of West Bengal. Among them, 30 girls and 30 boys are from each of the urban and rural areas of South Bengal. Again, 30 girls and 30 boys are from each of the urban and rural areas of North Bengal. Next, methodology. The method followed in this study is quantitative survey method. We have checked the level of peer interaction motivation among the students with respect to sharing of workload. For doing this, Likert scale has been used. We have observed the anxiety level, that is type 1 and type 2, for both boys and girls with state anxiety inventory developed by Spielberger and others. We have also observed the depression level based upon great depression inventory developed by Bell and others for both boys and girls. Regarding data analysis, the test has been used. From the analysis, we have arrived in the following results. That is, objective against objective 1, it has been observed girls and boys differ significantly with respect to the level of peer interaction motivation. Girls are better at peer interaction, and against objective 2, girls and boys both differ significantly with respect to state anxiety level, that is type 1. And with respect of objective 3, girls and boys both differ significantly with respect to state anxiety level, that is type 2. And the last one, girls and boys
differ significantly with respect to the depression level. Interpretation. Given interpretation, it can be said that girls have higher peer interaction motivation in comparison with boys, and there are some opinions that women may be better in the execution of tasks which require sincere efforts and collaboration. And we feel that the above two observations are correct. However, differences in the psychological parameter, that is anxiety and depression, with respect to participating boys and girls are remaining insignificant. In conclusion, and scope for further work, the result of the present study gives scope for further research on and whether the inculcation of gender equality at school is achievable with the help of improvements in peer interaction. It is also important to see whether a higher level of work environment in schools increases the difference in peer interaction motivation. One has to take steps accordingly to motivate the young ones for having respect to gender equality. Still, our research in this area is going on. Thank you.
Good afternoon all. Myself Dr. Uma Sinha, Associate Professor, Varun Dhaka Institute of Technology, New Delhi. This is affiliated under the Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi. Today I am going to discuss on the topic impact of the gender at workplaces. Gender equality in organization is a complex phenomenon that can be seen in the organizational structure, processes and practices. In some areas, the girls are allowed to acquire their basic educations, and some families even allow their daughters and girls to opt for their higher education as well. But when it comes to the employment and doing job, the majority of the families step back from this, and they prefer their highly educated girls to be stay at home and then plan for their wedding and allow their boys and sons to move forward in search of the job and employment. This gender discrimination affects the development and improvement of the economy of the state. Some common inequalities that take place in the workplace are the gender-biased imbalance of the individual in power and command over the management of the organizations. Women are not able to move up into the higher paid position as quickly as men. There are some gender inequality in the workplaces, like glass ceiling keep women from the advancing to top level position in the upper management. Then glass escalator, like men working in the female occupations, pushes men into the higher level, more desirable work and pay. Then mummy track, it emphasizes the career and family, encourage women to take the lower job and pays. Confirm the cultural assumptions that child rearing is a woman's work. Then conflict theory, capitalists exploit the gender division. Despite the strides that have been made in improving the gender equalities in companies, female workers are still paid significantly less than their male counterpart, as the women continue to be underrepresented in senior management roles. While discrimination and unequal pay is illegal, the facts show that there remain to be tremendous obstacles in equal opportunities, and employers play a vitally important role in overcoming this hurdle in their workforces. Now we will discuss the importance of the women in the workforce. As per research, companies who have a higher number of the women in their workforce have gained financial profit high and productivity as their output when compared to the companies which have fewer women employees. Being in the 21st century, where women have been equally capable and successful as a man, gender diversity at the workplace should be made a mandatory rule. Moreover, the companies which have a diverse workforce are more successful when compared to the other companies which are mostly male-dominated. Now see, what is the importance of this gender equality at a workplace? It will enhance the economic development, improve prospects for future generation, and strengthen political and social systems. Company with a female board representation outperform those who has no women on their board. Business who include females in leadership do better than those who do not. Organizations with gender diversity practices attract and retain the best talent. Now, women in the workplace face some issues and challenges, like first number, we can say man versus woman issues. As we know that man and woman are always the two sides of the same coin. Each one of them has a unique charisma and each one thinks and handles the situation differently. One must understand that a working woman loves your concern but not your sympathy. She wishes to be recognized with her talent and not her gender. As colleagues, man and woman need to combine their synergies and work in a union. Such a first step will definitely be the giant leap for the mankind. Another challenge is gender bias. Gender bias is another challenge that many women experience at their workplaces. Though we can say that corporate offices are bridging the gender gap slowly, private institutions and government offices are still way far behind. Jobs that require frequent travel, physical exertion, etc. are still open for the man only, as they are considered more eligible than the woman. Many companies, while hiring the woman employees, ask them openly about their marriage and further family planning, as they cannot afford the maternity leave and other flexibility perks. Then work-life imbalance. Another most noticeable challenge that women of the today face at the workplace is the work-life imbalance. Differentiating personal life and professional career become little hard for the women in the general. They tend to mix up with the work commitment with personal priorities, and that when all the issues started. Then another issue is the maternity leave. Growing from a woman to a mother brings about a lot of changes in anyone. She learned to nurture a small being inside her. Elders say that as a woman becomes a mother, care and patience become her inseparable virtues. Challenges are everywhere. Pushing oneself out of the comfort zone and trying something new and good is the challenges that one can impose on himself. More challenges one faces in the life, his achievement and memories increases manifold. At last we can say that gender equality must become a live reality. It will come from the determination, guts and heart. It will come from the man and woman who believe they can make a difference. We must close the gender gap. Then only we can think for the socio-economic development of the country. Thanks for giving me opportunity on this national platform.
Good morning. I, Sri Debotosh Pal, Assistant Professor of Sister Nivedita DED Training Institution, Kamakhaguri, Alipurduar. I really feeling proud to be a participant in this glorious program. Today's my topic: sexual harassment and prevention through education. Sexual harassment is intimidation, bullying, teasing and coercion of a sexual nature. Sexual harassment is a type of harassment technique that relates to a sexual nature and the unwelcome or inappropriate promise of reward in exchange for sexual favors. Sexual harassment includes a range of action from mild transgressions to sexual abuse or assaults. Harassment can occur in many different social settings such as the workplace, the home, school, churches, etc. Harassment of victims may be of any gender, like as male, female or transgender. Sexual harassment by an employee is a form of illegal employment discrimination. For many businesses or organizations, preventing sexual harassment and defending employees from sexual harassment charges have become key goals of legal decision making. In my topic, there are so many keywords such as key sexual harassment cases, area of sexual harassment, type of sexual harassment, impact of sexual harassment, common effects on the victims, and last, preventions. First point, key sexual harassment cases. Sexual harassment first became codified in US laws as the result of a series of sexual harassment cases in the 1970s and 1980s. Many of the early women pursuing these cases were African American, often from civil rights activists who applied principles of civil rights to sex discriminations. Area of sexual harassment. Harassment can occur in varying locations: school, college, workplace, in public and other places. Harassment can occur where or not there are witnesses to it. An incident may be a one-time occurrence. The victims and perpetrators can be any gender. The perpetrator does not have to be of the opposite sex. Type of harassment. Number 1, predatory harassment or harasser. Number 2, dominance harasser. Number 3, strategic or territorial harasser. And last one, street harasser. My next point, common effects on the victims. Common psychological, academic, professional, financial and social effects of sexual harassment and retaliation. Becoming publicly sexualized. Number 2, being objectified and humiliated by scrutiny and gossip. Number 4, defamation, character and reputation. Number 5, effects on sexual life and relationships can put extreme stress upon relationships with significant others, sometimes resulting in divorce, having to drop courses, change academic plans or leave school in fear of harassment, reputation or as a result of stress. Number 7, having to relocate to another city, another job or another school. Number 8, psychological stress and health impairment. Next point, prevention. Sexual harassment and assault may be prevented by secondary school, college and workplace education programs. At least one program for fraternity man produced sustained behavioral change. Antisocial harassment training programs have little evidence of effectiveness and some studies suggest that training may in fact backfire, reinforcing gender stereotypes and place women at a disadvantage. Now you know about a very important topic, Hathras incident in Uttar Pradesh. Recently, Hathras incident is a shameful to human being in these regards of sexual harassment of a Dalit girl. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. Myself is Tripathi. My topic is impact of gender in workplace. Gender is a socially constructed definition of women and men. It is the social design of a biological sex determined by the conception of tasks, functions and roles attributed to men and women in society and in public and private life. Both are equally important. Gender equality means accepting and valuing equally the differences between men and women and the diverse roles they play in society. Gender inequality is the notion and circumstance where men and women are not considered equally. Gender inequality refers to unequal treatment or perceptions of individuals entirely or partially are due to their gender. Aims and objectives of my topic. Workplace to provide equal pay for work of equal or comparable value, removal of barriers to the full and equal participation of women in the workplace, elimination of discrimination of the basis of gender, particularly in relation to family and caring responsibilities, access to all occupations, service and industries, including leadership roles regardless of gender. Improve national productivity and economic growth, enhanced ability working sector to attract talent and retain employees, increased organizational performance, enhanced organizational reputation, equal career opportunities for men and women. Then methodology. Here I mainly the used descriptive method and some information are analyzed here. Mainly secondary sources are maintained. A company that practices gender equality treats men and women the same. Equal pay and benefits for comparable roles, equal consideration of needs, equal opportunities for progression and promotion. Gender inequality in the workplace might include training only one gender for a particular role. Female employees may also worry about treatment during pregnancy or motherhood or being sexually harassed. giving training to raise awareness to promote fair behaviors, provide child care facilities, family friendly policies and child care vouchers. Facts our gender inequality in the workplace are clear. 23% of women at work have faced sexual harassment. Only 8% of them have reported it. 43 of mothers faced maternity discrimination. 52 of women faced mental health issues at work compared to 42 of
We have
men.
received
Such
14
differences
papers
indicates that there
on
are
the
still
theme
issues
impact
of inequality
gender in
at work,
workplace.
which the
Among
government
them,
has
11
stepped
participants will present their
into
paper
the address
now.
in recent years. The fight for equal pay is a point main gender equality issue. New laws ensure the gap between men's and women's pay is smaller than ever. The examples of gender inequality in workplace are unequal pay, unfavorable recruitment strategy, sexual harassment, bias, difference opportunities, etc. Then finding. This analysis indicates that through age and level of management has no significant effect on these factors, but male and female responsibilities difference significant on their options regarding their issues. It attracts top talent. It can reduce expense. Institution with gender inequality perform better. It improves national productivity. Conclusion. To promote gender inequality in the workplace, we can use such as the below. Evaluate our job satisfaction to see if we have barriers in the place that stop women from reaching roles that are more senior. Promote a better work-life balance for both genders. Offer training and mentors to everyone within service. Ensure that we have an enhancement policy in place to stop it from occurring in our entire service. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ritu Bhardwaj, and I am from Dayalbagh Educational Institute, Agra, Deemed University. And I am presenting a paper titled Perception of University Students on Gender Discrimination in the Workplace, Realism versus Fantasy. Introduction. For 50 years, legislation like Civil Rights Act 1964 and the Equal Pay Act of 1963 shielded women from blatant discrimination. But since gender inequality remains in the workforce today, the related stakeholders tend to underestimate its impact and consequences. Informal studies have shown that students at the college find themselves resistant to discrimination of gender. This paper examines the perception of students regarding potential discrimination against gender. Research shows that students view gender discrimination as having a minimal impact and are likely to enter gender-neutral workforce. Such perceptions can have adverse effects on organizations and staff, but awareness may be used to mitigate such effects. Design and methodology. The proposed research shall be descriptive, and the scope of the study will be confined to 100 students of the universities in India. Purposive sampling will be used to target the respondents using a semi-structured questionnaire. Statistical analysis. SPSS is used to measure the descriptive statistics, frequencies, means, standard deviations, correlations. Independent t-test used to evaluate whether gender or race influence the perceptions of gender discrimination by respondents. Instead of relying on the total scores, we estimated the scores by measuring the average of all responses on such scale, which can be misleading due to missing details. As dependent variable against the independent demographic variables of gender and race, we ran across tabulation on the gender discrimination survey items. Findings and conclusion. The results of the current study found that college students underestimate the potential presence of gender discrimination in the workplace, especially against women, and influence it. It further indicated that female professionals consider themselves to have been unprepared for the forms of gender discrimination they faced in the professional lives through their early experiences and educational opportunities. The effects of this lack of preparedness are potentially relevant. Employers and workers must understand and prepare for the continued presence of gender discrimination preparation, regulation, and deliberate planning of human resources to correct gender discrimination. Research limitations are: the study was conducted using convenience sampling. The generalization of our findings to the general population is minimal. Practical implications: the paper would include information ensuring college students are properly trained and prepared for gender inequality and other unequal job practices in the workplace realities. Employers will continue to make concerted efforts to educate students, employees, especially recent college graduates, on the realities of discrimination in the workplace and tackle gender discrimination through policies, training, and compliance. We believe that if students are adequately prepared for the likelihood of gender discrimination in the workplace, they will mitigate the effects of extrinsic consequences of gender discrimination, such as lost opportunities for promotion, or intrinsic consequences of gender discrimination, such as the negative effects of discrimination on self-confidence, job satisfaction, as the negative effects wherein reduction in such effects of general inequality can benefit an organization in terms of increased productivity, engagement, and retention. Recommendations for future research. Many longitudinal researches referenced in the present article on the nature and consequences of gender inequality in the workplace are now a decade old. Therefore, to generate and disclose even more contemporary empirical evidence to support or change the presence of gender inequality in the workforce today, researchers should consider replicating and updating these studies. In addition, tests should be included to determine if the respondent has any direct or indirect knowledge of discrimination based on gender or other forms of discrimination that could impact their perceptions and ratings. Subsequent inquiries could consider extending or replicating the present research to include students in other regions of the country, students in other parts of the world, and adults in the workforce to assess if their views are compatible with the current research. Originality. Extensive research work has been undertaken in the context of general discrimination. The study is a novel attempt to measure the perception of students regarding potential discrimination against gender. The results will be very beneficial for future research and will expand the body of scholarly literature. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I am Shruti S. from Department of Commerce, University of Kerala. The topic of my presentation is the gender pay gap, unequal pay for equal work. Moving on to the introduction, gender wage gap is characterized as the distinction between the middle profits of people. That is, it considers all people who fall under the ambit of paid work. As per the Gender Gap Index in 2020, India has slipped to the 1012th situation for the past 108th in 2018. As indicated by the report, it will take India nearly 100 years to overcome any issues in territories of legislative issues, economy, well-being and instruction. And next we move on to the objectives of the study. Basically, the objectives of my study is first one to study about the problems faced by the women in India in the case of workplace, and second one to analyze how to tackle the problems faced by the women, and third one to study about the concept of gender wage gap. And the research methodology I use for my study is based on secondary source of data which is collected from articles, newspapers, magazines and from websites. And next we move on to the concept of gender wage gap. The gender wage gap or gender gap is the normal contrast between the compensation for people who are working, that is, ladies are commonly viewed as paid not as much as men. Then there will be unmistakable numbers with respect to the compensation whole, that is, the non-balanced versus balanced compensation whole. The last ordinarily considers contrast in occupations, peak training, and employment experience. And next we move on to the problems faced by the women in workplace. The first problem is inappropriate behavior, which means that the inappropriate behavior at the work environment is one of the most far-reaching issues that ladies are facing. Sexual provocations is an unwanted sexual conduct which will be a verbal, physical, or profoundly affects ladies. Inappropriate behavior doesn't really means contacting the private pieces of any lady. It ranges from holistic remarks. And the second problem is pay imbalance, which means there will be difference in the pay between the men and the women, and it is the most significant issues which women representatives need to look at their work environment. More often that not, in spite of being more capable and qualified than individual male representatives, lady laborers are paid not as much as women also gain. And also practically 50% of the workforce still they procure not as much as men laborers in pretty much each and every occupation. And the third problem is lesser women in the workplace, which means that in workplace the concentration of women is lesser than that of the men. So it has to be removed. And the fourth problem is cold working environment condition and the absence of family support. Some families may not support the women to go for work. So these types of problems which has to be faced by the women in the workplace as well as in families. And the fourth one is lack of security, which means there won't be a sufficient number of security which has to be provided by the society to the women. So the helpless security at the working environment is another critical worry that a woman need to manage. And the sixth problem is the absence of role model at working environment, which means we learn by following the strides of others. Indeed, even at working environment, youthful experts admire senior partners to gain proficiency with the stunts and exchanges of business. And next we move on to the steps to resolve the problems faced by the women. The first step is framing a complaint cells or objections advisory groups. The Board of Trustees will tune into the objections of ladies representatives and explore autonomously. And also it will help the handies of this sort of advisory group is common in inappropriate behavior cases. And the second step is proper work condition. Business should attempt to give appropriate work circumstances to ladies to ensure that there is no unpleasant climate for the female specialist also. And the third step is ensuring appropriate security to the women. This is one of the most significant variables which should have to be dealt with well by the business. In addition, giving a protected taxi office, they need to guarantee that the women representative won't work late hours. And next we move on to the suggestions and recommendations. In spite of the Equal Pay Act, the wage pay perseveres. So as to accomplish the equivalent compensation, we must reinforce our equivalent compensation laws with the goal that ladies can retaliate and against pay separation. Organizations need to improve their way of life around flex work arrangements. And moving on to the conclusion, the gender wage gap is deserving of insightful investigation because of its noteworthy associations with regions, for example, social equity and decency, fairness and financial portability, what's more, ability obtaining, improvement and maintenance. The current investigation looked to recognize the causes and results of the sexual orientation wage gap, inspect individuals' impressions of the wage gap holds, etc. And these are the references which I make to conduct my study. Thank you all.
Good evening to everyone present here on the webinar. It is my joint paper with Ipshita Chakraborty Madam, State Aid College teacher of South Calcutta Girls College, and me, Shayoti Sengupta, an honors student from the Department of Sociology under South Calcutta Girls College. The title of my paper is Gender Role in Workplace, an effective study to bring out gender inequality in Indian society. Gender is a socially constructed term. Even after major movements taking place worldwide, the oppression against women and subjugation of their basic human rights has not decreased. The objective of my study is to highlight the current scenario of gender inequality in India. I have limited my study only to Indian working sectors. In this paper, I would like to put forward the conditions of gender inequality with respect to urban and rural sectors. Here, I shall mention the most important rural working sectors where women face gender biasness, namely the agricultural sectors, the garment manufacturing sectors, tea plantations, and mining sites. In the urban areas, such gender inequality is observed in the banking sectors of India, the Indian IT industries, the educational or academic sectors, entrepreneurship, sports, and politics. Women are often subjected to sexual harassment, verbal abuse by employers, inappropriate behavior, and so on. In my paper, I would also like to mention about the POSH Act that has been passed by the Rajya Sabha on February 26, 2013 to protect women from sexual harassment at their place of work. In the concluding lines, I would like to mention a few remedial steps or measures that can be taken to bridge the prevalent gender gap in India. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to present my paper on the international webinar.
Good morning to my respected professors who are present over here and my fellow mates. We have created a project, that is me and my friend Rajnandini Shaha. Our topic is impact of gender in workplaces. Let me begin with the introduction first. Generally, gender discrimination is when a corporation treats an employee differently because of the individual is a man or a woman. The terms gender and sex tend to use interchangeably, but there is a notable difference. Sex refers to the individual's biological identity, male or female. What is gender? Now we come to the point. To the question rather. What is gender? Gender is used to describe the characteristics of women and men that are socially constructed, while sex refers to those that are biologically determined. People who are born female or male but learn to be girls and boys who grow into men and women. Gender inequalities. Gender inequalities is the idea that men and women are not equal and that gender affects an individual living experience. These differences arises from distinctions in biology, psychology, cultural factors, norms. Some of these types of distinctions are empirically grounded while others appear to be socially constructed. Legal, social and cultural situation in which sex and or gender determine different rights and dignity for women and men, which are reflected in their unequal access to or employment of rights, as well as the assumption of stereotyped social cultural cases. Now, some examples of treatment that could be gender discrimination include not being hired or being given a lower paying position because of your sex. Number 2, being held to different or higher standards or being evaluated more harshly because of your sex or because you don't act or present yourself in a way that conforms to traditional ideas of femininity or masculinity. being paid less than a person or a different sex who is similarly or less qualified than you and who has similar job duties than you. Being denied promotion, pay raise or training opportunity that is given people of another sex who are equally less qualified as eligible as you. Now we come to the reasons and causes of gender inequality. Now the first point is uneven access to education. The second point is lack of employment equality. Number 3, job segregation. Number 4, lack of legal protections. And number 5, lack of religious freedom. Now steps we reduce to control gender discrimination and steps to reduce gender discrimination. Reduce socialization by parents and other adults of girls and boys into traditional gender roles. Confront gender stereotyping by the popular and news media. Increase public consciousness for the release and reasons for extent of the consequences of rape and sexual assault, sexual harassment and pornography. Increase enforcement of existing laws against gender-based employment discrimination and against sexual harassment. Increase funding of rape crisis centers and other services for girls and women who have been raped or sexually assaulted. Now we come to bibliography. I would like to thank my respected teachers, Mr. and Mrs. Ipshita Chakraborty, for giving me and my friend the chance to attend this webinar. I would also like to thank my friend Rajnandini Shaha for helping me through the presentations. Materials, Matthews N. in 1989, surrounding a legacy, the expansion of racial diversity in a local anti-rape movement, gender and society, 3518 to 532. Randall M. Haskell, L. 1995, Sexual Violence in Women's Lives, Findings from Women's Safety Project, Community-Based Survey, Violence Against Women, 1-6-31. Thank you so much.
Very good afternoon. I Vishakha Som from Dinabandhu Mahavidyalaya, Borna. The topic is today, my presentation is the effects of gender discrimination in the workplace. In this paper, I would try to discussion that particularly gender discrimination is a major problem not only India but also around the world, and it occurs in many aspects of a person's life, whether it is culture, politics, occupations, family and relationship or the economy. And now objective of the study is to find out the underlying factors responsible for gender-based discriminatory problems faced by working females, to gain an effective understanding of all those females who work in professional institutions are being discriminated, and to find it or to analyze it on the ground of relativism is taken seriously into consideration. Methodology. This study is an exploratory research in nature where working female-related gender discriminatory factors are identified. Having work experience as a college teacher in the academic profession, the researcher or easily got an opportunity to approach the respondents for data collection. Moreover, as a self-experience holder, also got a chance to eliminate the bias which could cause hurdles while analyzing the data. Finding of the study. This study contributed significantly to the lack of participation on the part of working females respondents or revealing the actual issues faced by them. At the workplace, there are few limitations to achieve moral and ethical stand on which how working female experience discrimination on and how they differently faced this issue at their respective workplace due to various factors, as every female to the different factor. And suggestion is instead we need to develop a sociology of the remediation of inequality focused on how to bring about change effectively. And now I would like to conclude that we spend most of our waking lives in organizations which are key to the distribution of material, social and emotional resources in society. The goal is to encourage researchers to develop propositions and insights into what works to increase equality and to promote evidence-based solutions to influence employers and policy makers. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Dhuti Chatterjee from St. Xavier's College, Calcutta, and my paper is titled Gender Inequalities in the Workplace, a Sociological Study. In this video, I would like to discuss a little about how I have gone on with my paper and what exactly I have dealt with in this paper of mine. So this discussion I would like to divide it into a few subsections. The first subsection I would like to talk about is aims and objectives. So this paper has 4 main objectives in mind. The first and primary objective is what are the root causes which actually lead to gender discrimination in the workplace in the 21st century. So the causes which actually facilitate the gender discrimination even today. The second objective of this paper is to discuss what all this gender inequality actually means for women. What all fuel this gender inequality that is acutely discriminatory against women. The third objective of this paper is to explore how these factors of gender inequality actually impact women not only on a personal level but also on a professional level too. And the fourth objective is to find out how this gender inequality and the consequent personal and professional effects that women go through finally lead to the decreasing economic productivity of the organization at large. The second subsection I want to discuss with is findings. The findings are quite in sync with the aims and objectives of my paper. So the first objective I wanted to deal with was the root causes, and in my findings I have found out that these root causes range from a variety of psychosocial causes like motherhood myths and women's stereotypes which not only justify but also facilitate gender inequality. A second cause is an educational cause where education is still seen as a luxury for women, and thus women are often left uneducated and thus unequipped to and ineligible to be actually employed in jobs, and even if they are employed, these women are bound to be discriminated against. And thirdly and most importantly is how sexism emanates from a very deep-rooted institutional cause. So for example, the HR, which is responsible for decisions such as salary, promotions, autonomy of decision making, etc., how these are acutely discriminatory towards women. All these I have found out. The second objective of my paper was to discuss what exactly this gender inequality fuels and what this gender inequality means for women. So in terms of wage disparity, in terms of not getting promoted, not being listened to, and most importantly, sexual harassment. Then the third objective was what exactly are the effects that this gender inequality has on women. So on a personal level, depression and anxiety, and on a professional level, this demotivation to work and cynical approaches to the workplace all have been discussed in great details in my paper. And obviously the fourth objective, how finally this dissuasion to work and demotivation to work harms the work culture and the economic productivity of the organization at large. So my findings are quite in sync with the aims and objectives of my paper, and the findings are quite elaborated upon in my paper. The third subsection I want to talk about is the methodology. So I have used interviews, open-ended interviews in my paper, and these interviews have been spread across women of different caste, religion, class, sexuality. So these diversities have helped me find out how these variances coupled with the gender quotient lead to more discrimination for certain women, and how these diversities create a categorization of women of their own, placing certain women on top of the social ladder just because of the social location they come from. My paper finally ends with suggestions as to how this gender inequality can be mitigated, which ranges from a host of options such as awareness and sensitization programs, and also educating the HR as to how a gender equal and gender positive work atmosphere can not only help the women but the total organization at large. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, my all respected teachers. My name is Ankita Chakraborty. I want to present a joint paper with Jamini Mondol and Pooja Majhi. We are all the students of South Calcutta Girls College, Department of Sociology. আমি যে বিষয়টি উপস্থাপনা করতে চলেছি সেই বিষয়টি হচ্ছে কর্মক্ষেত্রে লিঙ্গ বৈষম্য একটি সমাজতাত্ত্বিক পর্যালোচনা। কর্মক্ষেত্রে লিঙ্গ বৈষম্য, এই লিঙ্গ বৈষম্য শব্দটি অতি প্রাচীন কাল থেকেই মানুষের ভেদাভেদ সৃষ্টি হয়েছে। পুরুষ এবং নারী লিঙ্গ বোঝালেও বা জেন্ডার বোঝালেও সমাজে কিন্তু সমান মর্যাদা পাওয়া যাচ্ছে না। কর্মক্ষেত্রেও তাই এর ব্যতিক্রম নয়, কারণ কর্মক্ষেত্র হচ্ছে সমাজেরই একটি অঙ্গ। নারীরা শিক্ষার আলোয় আলোকিত হলেও আধুনিকতার ছোঁয়াতে যুগের সঙ্গে তাল মিলিয়ে এগিয়ে গেলেও তারাও কিন্তু কর্মক্ষেত্রে গিয়ে সমান সুযোগ পাচ্ছেন না। বেতন ও অন্যান্য সুযোগ সুবিধা থেকে তারা বঞ্চিত হচ্ছে। বিশেষ করে অসংগঠিত শ্রমিকদের ক্ষেত্রে, যেমন চা বাগান, ইট ভাটা, বিভিন্ন জায়গায় নারীরা গেলেও তাদের ওপর থাকছে পরিবারের বিভিন্ন চাপ সৃষ্টি করা হচ্ছে, তাদের সংসার প্রতিপালন করতে হচ্ছে, তাদের সংসারের দায়িত্ব সামলে বাইরে কর্মজগতে লিপ্ত হওয়াটা ভীষণ সমস্যার। এক্ষেত্রে অনেক বাধার সৃষ্টি হচ্ছে। এছাড়া তারা যদি না যায়, তারা যদি গৃহেই কাটিয়ে দেয়, কারণ আমাদের একটা চিরাচরিত ধারণা আছে যে পুরুষ মানেই হচ্ছে বাইরের জগতে লিপ্ত আর নারী মানেই হচ্ছে কর্মহীন, গৃহের অভ্যন্তরেই থাকবে। কিন্তু তা হলেও তাদের প্রতি পুরুষেরা বা যারা অর্থ রোজগার করে আনছে তারা একটা বিরক্তিকর বা অশ্রদ্ধা মনোভাব প্রকাশ করছে। এই ক্ষেত্রে নোবেলজয়ী অর্থনীতিবিদ অমর্ত্য সেন দেখিয়েছেন যে নারীরা যদি অর্থ রোজগার করে বাইরের জগতে লিপ্ত থাকে তাহলে সংসারে তাদের একটু সম্মান পাওয়া যায় বা শ্রদ্ধার মনোভাবটা পোষণ করে অন্যান্য সদস্যরা। তাই তিনি বারংবার নারীদের আত্মনির্ভর হতে বলছেন। আত্মনির্ভর হতে বললেও নারীরা চাইলেও কিন্তু তারা আত্মনির্ভর হতে পারছেন না। আজও তারা অনেক পিছিয়ে, কারণ আজও বহু নারীকে কম বয়সে বিবাহ দিয়ে দেওয়া হয়, আজও বহু নারীকে শিক্ষার আলো থেকে বঞ্চিত করা হয়, আজও বহু নারীকে কর্মক্ষেত্রে যৌন হেনস্থার শিকার হতে হয়। সেখানে তাদের প্রতিবাদ করার কোনো সুযোগ থাকে না। তাদের সহকর্মী এবং উচ্চপদস্থ কর্মচারী তাদের উপর যে অত্যাচার করে সেই অত্যাচারের প্রতিকার করার সুযোগ তারা পান না। এইভাবেই তারা পিছিয়ে পড়ছেন। এছাড়াও সমাজে পুরুষ এবং নারী ছাড়াও তৃতীয় লিঙ্গের অস্তিত্ব রয়েছে বা থার্ড জেন্ডার। এদের সাংবিধানিক দিক থেকে স্বীকৃতি দেওয়া হলেও এদের মানুষ হিসেবে কিন্তু আজও অনেকেই মানুষ হিসেবে গণ্য করেন না, বলা ভালো এই সমাজ আজও গণ্য করে না। কিন্তু তা সত্ত্বেও তারা এগোচ্ছে। এক্ষেত্রে উজ্জ্বল দৃষ্টান্ত স্থাপন করেছেন মানবী বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়, যিনি প্রথম রূপান্তরকামী অধ্যাপিকা। এছাড়াও বহু রূপান্তরকামী বা তৃতীয় লিঙ্গের মানুষের এগিয়ে আসছেন, উজ্জ্বল দৃষ্টান্ত স্থাপন করছেন। কিন্তু তাহলেও কর্মক্ষেত্রে আজও লিখিত যে শুরুর বিভিন্ন কাজকর্ম থাকে কর্মক্ষেত্রে ঢোকার আগে, সেখানে আজও পুরুষ এবং নারী থাকলেও তৃতীয় লিঙ্গের অস্তিত্ব থাকছে না। আর থাকলেও তাদেরকে বঞ্চিত করা হচ্ছে এবং তারা হাসি ঠাট্টা বিদ্রূপের শিকার হচ্ছে। এইভাবেই যদি চলতে থাকে তাহলে সমাজ উন্নত হবে না। তাই আমার মনে হয় পুরুষ নারী তৃতীয় লিঙ্গ নির্বিশেষে মানবিক দৃষ্টিভঙ্গি দিয়ে বিচার করলে তাহলে সমাজের পরিবর্তন ঘটবে। কেন সবার উপরে মানুষ সত্য, এই কথা যদি আমরা মেনে চলি তাহলে পিতৃতান্ত্রিক সমাজ ব্যবস্থার অবসান ঘটবে। পুরুষ নারী তৃতীয় লিঙ্গ নির্বিশেষে মানুষ হিসেবে সম্মান দিতে হবে। আর কর্মক্ষেত্রেও সবাইকে সমান সুযোগ করে দিতে হবে, কারণ আত্মনির্ভর হওয়ার অধিকার সবার আছে, নিজের পায়ে দাঁড়ানোর অধিকার প্রত্যেকটা মানুষের আছে, তার জন্য কোনো লিঙ্গ দায়ী নয়। ধন্যবাদ আমাকে এই সুবর্ণ সুযোগটি করে দেওয়ার জন্য। ধন্যবাদ।